Coming up next, months after this wall collapsed in Bellefonte, a project to bring a permanent fix is coming soon.
Plus, the State College School District has a new leader for its nearly 7,000 students. What's his vision for the district?
So one of the things I wanted to do is to make our school district one of the best school districts in the state of Pennsylvania.
And the collapse of two banks sparks fear among other bank customers, even in our area.
I think it does cause worry for other people that do have their money in the bank.
The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Hannah Markovich.
And I'm John Drager. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. Our top story: 3 months after a wall collapsed along a Bellefonte road, a permanent fix is coming soon, but the project will take some time. Last November, the bridge wall of a road along Spring Creek at Bellefonte's Talleyrand Park collapsed, forcing PennDOT to quickly put in a temporary fix on Thanksgiving. Fast forward to today, and that temporary solution still stands, but something permanent is in the works.
We've been working on design to do a permanent repair on that.
Cars still driving on South Water Street are going across the road without any problem, but work will soon begin on a long-term fix with the idea of public safety in mind.
The plan is to rebuild the sidewalk where it collapsed. We think overall it'll be a nice project once it's all done.
Right behind me is the bridge in question, where you can see some of that concrete structuring and rock support on the creek side wall. PennDOT has a permanent solution on the way to replace all of that. And let me tell you, it's going to take more than your average set of tools to fix it.
The project is actually going to build a new retaining wall, referred to as a soldier pile retaining wall. It'll also include new pipes, masonry work, miscellaneous items.
With the new infrastructure, it's going to cost a lot to repair the wall.
We bid this project on February the 16th at just over $393,000.
The project is set to begin April 3rd and work its way through the summer, with a target end date at around August. A piece of advice to residents:
be patient if they need to take the detour, to certainly be cautious.
We will do our best to accommodate any scheduled special events.
The construction will create a one-lane detour for northbound travel, with those southbound able to still use South Water Street. Bellefonte officials are also concerned about driver safety on a stretch of State Route 550. PennDOT studied the intersection of Zion Road and South Parkview Boulevard and says a traffic light is needed, but the borough would like to add 2 lights, with another at Airport Road and Zion Road. According to the borough manager, PennDOT thinks there should be one 4-way intersection and then a relocation of Airport Road and South Parkview Boulevard.
If we're talking about realigning Airport and Parkview, there would be some properties that would be affected, which means people and property owners. We try to take pressure off the local taxpayers by hopefully getting some grants and funding from the state, so it spreads the cost out.
Stewart said some taxpayer dollars will need to be used for the project, and it could cost upwards of $800,000.
The State College Borough Water Authority is notifying residents it'll be flushing water mains starting next Monday. The process is expected to last for several months. The agency says it'll help with the water quality. People may see some change in water color, but the Water Authority says that it isn't harmful.
The State College School District's new superintendent is off and running in his new job. The school board approved Curtis Johnson this week. He's the first African American to hold that title in the district. He previously served as State High's principal and was the interim superintendent. Some of his goals include focusing on climate, equity and inclusivity initiatives, and increasing graduation rates.
One of the things I wanted to do is to make our school district one of the best school districts in the state of Pennsylvania. We have been ranked in the top quartile of our state, and I would like to see us in the top 10%.
Johnson has worked in the district for 20 years.
The 320 Coalition will hold an upcoming rally to mark the 4th anniversary of a police shooting death in State College. Osaze Osagi was a 29-year-old black man with history of autism and schizophrenia who was killed by a State College police officer in 2019. The officers arrived at Osagi's apartment to perform a routine mental health wellness check.
There still has not been a recognition by the police department of the ways in which they failed that day.
A rally is set for Monday outside the State College Municipal Building at noon.
All eyes are on the banking industry after the collapse of 2 U.S. banks. There are also signs of trouble at 2 others, First Republic Bank and overseas at Credit Suisse. Reporter Paloma Frown talks with a local expert about the issues.
The collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank have sent shock and fear across financial markets worldwide, and it all happened so quickly. Penn State students in the Leverage Lion Group were actually visiting the Silicon Valley just before the crash.
There was actually a Penn State trip to SVB about a week before the entire collapse happened. No one had any idea that this was a possibility.
Things turned ugly in a hurry.
So this was just a classic bank run. So when people take their money and they put it in the bank turns around and they lend that money out. So they don't actually keep all the money on hand that you give them. So what happened here is people got worried that the bank would fail and they all went and asked for their money back. And when everybody goes in and asks for their money back, the bank doesn't have enough on hand to meet all of those requests, and so it fails. And that's what happened here.
Federal agencies are beginning investigations into the collapse and any actions taken by senior executives.
It seems like SVB risk management was kind of asleep at the wheel.
Dr. Stephen Llewellyn is a finance professor at Penn State. He says what happened is surprising.
Now this risk, interest rate risk, is the simplest type of risk that a bank has to manage. And the fact that SVB didn't seem to understand that they were in this position is mind-blowing given the sophistication of the bank managers and the extremely sort of heavy regulatory apparatus that's in place in the banking system.
You might be asking yourself, what about your money? Well, Llewellyn says that all deposits under $250,000 are insured by the government. He also says that the 2 bank failures should not have a direct effect on other banks. However, it does raise the question of whether other banks might have similar problems, and consumers are watching this closely.
I do think this is really worrisome because while the government was able to bail out the Silicon Valley Bank and the investors were able to get some of that money back, I think it does cause worry for other people that do have their money in the bank.
The federal government stepped in quickly to guarantee customers' money, but that also can raise questions.
It kind of asks a question like, how far is the government going to go in controlling banks and regulating banks and bailing out banks? Like, we don't want banks to think that they can take more risk than they should, and they'll just get the government bailout in the end.
In State College, I'm Paloma Freunt for the Center County Report.
Federal agencies are continuing to closely monitor the situation.
People in State College Borough and Ferguson Township will soon have a new choice in cable TV and broadband service. The two have just approved new agreements with Shentel under its Glo Fiber brand. Both municipalities also have agreements with Comcast, and those will continue. The addition of Glo Fiber gives customers another option. Construction is set to start next year.
Still to come on the Center County Report, are there signs of spring in our weekend forecast?
Plus, the Sheets versus Wawa battle comes to the State College area. Find out what's new. Also coming up, Penn State fans have a rare chance to cheer for their team in March Madness and look at the team's newfound success.
The Nittany Lions made their first trip to the NCAA basketball tournament in 12 years last night and beat Texas A&M to move on to the next round. Reporter Zach Kay says for Penn State fans, it's been a long time coming.
Football is king at Penn State. Longtime success and traditions like the whiteout game have put the Nittany Lions on the national stage. But this week, some of the craziest and most passionate fans in the country have turned their energy towards something else: basketball. A stunning run to the Big Ten championship game was followed by the team's first NCAA tournament berth in 12 years. In just his second season, Coach Micah Shrewsbury has re-energized the program.
We got to continue to push forward right now with what we're doing and with this momentum and how we're doing. Like, we got to continue to grow this program and build this program.
As the team got ready to leave for Iowa this week, more than 100 fans turned out to send them off. It was March Madness, with flurries coming down and the temperature well below freezing. Fans filled these seats behind me all season long, and as a reward, they got to watch their Nittany Lions play in the NCAA tournament this week. This is just their second winning season since 2019, when they won 21 games. Postseason tournaments that year were canceled because of COVID.
So it's huge for our program. I mean, the momentum it's going to build for future generations of players coming in, for future generations of Penn Staters and fans. It's fantastic. We're all excited. There's a palpable buzz for this program right now.
The Legion of Blue is growing, and this year fans set the single season attendance record for home games.
You can see today there's a huge following for Penn State basketball. The success of the program is absolutely going to drive more people to come out to games, be fans, be great supporters. So we have seen more interest, and we hope that with all this success we're having, that it's going to continue to grow.
In University Park, I'm Zach Kay for the Center County Report.
We'll have more on last night's big win coming up in sports.
Plans are in the works for a new Wawa store and gas station in the State College area. Reporter Anna Camden says that's also sparking a new chapter in Pennsylvania's Wawa versus Sheetz battle.
State College is home to lots of food options. One of them is Sheetz, but some new competition is coming to town in the form of its arch nemesis, Wawa. It's safe to say Penn State students have taken sides in the great gas station debate.
I'm Team Sheetz all the way. Not even debatable. I've grown up with Sheetz my whole life.
It's a famous rivalry for Pennsylvanians, but they aren't the only people with strong opinions.
So I'm from Miami, Florida. Obviously, I think the Sheetz and Wawa battle is a Pennsylvania thing, but we do have a couple Wawas down in Miami, so I say I'm Team Wawa.
One thing Wawa fans can rally behind are the franchise's trademark hoagies.
And then you go there in the afternoon and they have their hoagies, they have their everything. Their classic hoagies, which I get and I love.
While Wawa is famous for their hoagies, this Penn Stater is a big fan of Sheetz mac and cheese bites.
Well, I'm from Pittsburgh, and Sheetz has really good mac and cheese bites. They slap, so.
Benner Township Secretary and Treasurer Sharon Royer says the new Wawa location will be in between Fulton Bank and Dunkin' Donuts on Benner Pike, much to the disdain of Sheetz fans.
Oh, I think they're definitely stomping on our ground. This is the Sheetz area, and there's no place for it.
To try to settle this debate, I even took the fight to social media, conducting an Instagram poll that received over 1,000 votes, and 61% of voters picked Wawa over Sheetz. But chances are the fight will rage on. In State College, I'm Anna Camden for the Center County Report.
The new Wawa could open as soon as 2 years from now.
Well, we are getting our afternoon started on a dreary but mild note here in Happy Valley. It's currently 43 degrees. It feels like 40 degrees because we have a light west-southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. Now, don't expect those winds to be light throughout the day today. Temperatures across the Commonwealth are looking to be pretty mild. That's thanks to a warm front that moved through our area from south to north late last night, and we are seeing a southerly flow of wind. But if you look towards the left part of the screen, we are seeing some westerly winds. That's a sign that a cold front will be moving through our area later today. Now on our satellite, it's looking very festive out in western Pennsylvania. We have a thick shield of rain trying to move its way through eastern PA later on today. And behind that, we have high pressure moving in our area, and that's going to lead to some sunnier, cooler, and windier conditions for our weekend. So if you're heading out on the town tonight, maybe you're celebrating St. Patrick's Day here in State College, grab the umbrella this evening. It's going to be warm but wet as that cold front slides through. And then throughout the overnight hours, trade the umbrella perhaps for the jackets because it's going to be getting very cold and breezy as well. We'll fall down into the middle 30s overnight, but then by tomorrow morning, we'll fall back to near average lows this time of the year at around 25 to say 30 degrees. So here is how we plan our evening out. Here's that cold front later on tonight that slides through our region, and behind that, we clear up somewhat, but those winds do start to take effect. That keeps in play throughout the overnight hours and into early tomorrow morning, and here is your recap for today. It's going to be dreary but mild with the high near 52 degrees. We'll be seeing wind gusts pick up, especially in the evening as that cold front approaches. So for tonight, we'll be falling back pretty sharply in terms of temperatures near 29 degrees, clearing but blustery. Those winds will stay in effect near 30 miles per hour overnight. Then for tomorrow, it's going to be cooler than average behind that cold front, sunnier but breezier with a high near 40 degrees. And then, ironically, on our last day of winter for Sunday, it's going to feel like our first day of winter. We'll see highs dip back into the mid-30s, but then just in time for spring equinox, we jump back to near average and sunnier conditions through mid-next week, only to see our next best rain chance on Thursday.
Kyle, look at us here matching with our hot pink, looking forward to spring.
It's so exciting.
Absolutely, and there's a little bit of showers, a little bit of sunshine. The up and downs are creating a madness here in March. Speaking of, why don't we send it over to Juan Mendez with sports?
Thanks, guys. Coming up, we take a look at the highlights from a historic night in Penn State hoops. Also ahead, after more than a century of competing, Penn State's boxing team continues to push boundaries. I'm Juan Mendez with sports. Penn State men's basketball finally got its long-awaited trip to the big dance. The Lions played Texas A&M last night in Iowa and came away with their first tournament win in 22 years. This was the first time the Nittany Lions have made it to the NCAA tournament since 2011. After a run to the Big Ten title game, they tried to keep their season going in Iowa after a late-night tip-off. It was a team effort from Penn State, and they ultimately defeated Texas A&M 76-59. Nittany Lion Andrew Funk led the team with 27 points, most of them from three-point range, and Jalen Pickett added 19 points. To high school hoops now, the State College Little Lions boys basketball team is moving on in the State 6A tournament. They'll take on the Springford Rams tomorrow at 1 at Mechanicsburg High School. The Little Lions beat the Central Catholic Vikings 57-47 on Wednesday, extending their win streak to 11 games. The winner of this matchup will take on either Newcastle or Reading next week. Penn State Wrestling continues its quest for a second straight NCAA title today on day 2 of the national championships. The 3-day tournament started yesterday in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 9 Nittany Lions will compete for individual titles, including #1 seeds and reigning national champions Roman Bravo Young and Carter Starachi. 5 other Penn Staters earned seeds inside of the top 10. Aaron Brooks is also aiming to defend his national title. Spring football is also here again. Reporter Gabe Angieri checks in with the Nittany Lions during their first week of practice.
James Franklin kicked off spring ball this week by touching on plenty of topics, including the hiring of Deion Barnes as the team's new defensive line coach.
Not only did you hear it, but you felt his passion for coaching D-line. You felt his passion for Penn State. And you felt his passion for this specific group of defensive linemen that he has a relationship with.
On the other side of the ball, the quarterbacks are always a hot topic. Despite former 5-star recruit Drew Aller being the likely starter, Franklin called the quarterback battle between Aller, Bo Pribula, and even Jackson Smolik a true competition, with all of them getting equal reps over the next few weeks.
James Franklin certainly left the door open for speculation when discussing his quarterbacks, even the possibility of playing 2 quarterbacks this season. He said it's a different dynamic than last season, as while they had their differences, Sean Clifford and Drew Aller had similar play styles, as opposed to Drew Aller and Bo Pribula, whose differences are dramatic in terms of their skill sets.
Penn State fans will get the chance to see the quarterbacks in action, and the Nittany Lions wrap up spring ball with the annual blue-white game next month. Franklin said he anticipates the blue-white game will return to its traditional head-to-head format this season, as opposed to last year's practice configuration.
But we're one of the unique places. We're going to have more people at our spring game than most people have for a regular game in the fall.
In University Park, I'm Gabe Angieri for the Center County Report.
Spring ball features 15 practices that end with the blue-white game at Beaver Stadium on April 15th. Penn State baseball is back in action this afternoon at home. It's the start of a 3-game series against Georgetown. The Lions are off to a solid 9-5 start this season. Penn State's boxing club has turned 100 years old. The athletes are working hard to recapture the glory of the program's earliest days. In State College, Penn State's boxing club continues to provide a space to those passionate for the sport. Willing to train every day to stay in tip-top shape, these fighting academics battle through heart and mind, earning respect one round at a time.
These kids deserve recognition. The student athletes that they are, they deserve the recognition for the time and hard work that they put in.
After a brilliant performance in Open Regionals, the team will be represented in Nationals by their 10 qualified fighters, a new record for the club. Every boxer has their own story, a reason to fight. But when the time comes to step into the ring, there is one common goal in mind.
It's a big deal for me to be on the team, especially as a freshman, and I'm excited for the next 3 years.
I don't plan on fighting after college, so I'm going to put everything I have into it and really make it count and try to go out a champion.
The team won 2 national championships here in Rec Hall behind me, one in 1929 and one in 1932. The current program has elevated in recent years, persisting to bring back the glory of the program's history, one that many did not know existed. So I wanted to take a closer look into the history of this very decorated team. A varsity sport in the early 20s and 30s, Penn State boxing obtained a total of 5 national championships. Formerly celebrated as the most dominant sport at the school, coaches and fighters today strive to bring back some of that legendary status.
Well, for nationals, the goal is national championships. After that, who knows? As long as it doesn't go away and it keeps growing, that'll make us happy.
You know, fight on state means more than just the motto. It's us too. We're here.
The NCBA and the U.S. Performance Center will host the national championships next month in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's all for sports. Now back to you guys at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Juan. John, really looking forward to seeing Penn State play some basketball this weekend.
Absolutely. A very packed Midwest regional. Can't wait.
Absolutely. The boss is back after 7 years. He's coming to our area this weekend. Another big show is coming to the Bryce Jordan Center this weekend. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band are in town tomorrow for their Letters to You album tour. The band has canceled several shows this month because of illness, but they returned last night in Philadelphia. The last time Springsteen performed in State College was in 2016 for their River Tour.
You know, Hannah, even though Springsteen was born in the USA, he might be feeling the luck of the Irish tonight.
That is absolutely true, and that's all today for our newscast. We hope you'll join us next Friday for another local news update.
But you can follow us anytime for breaking news and watch our stories on our Center County Reports social media. You'll find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website. Have a great weekend, everyone.